Forget the carrots. Forget the expensive eye drops. There is a tiny seed sitting in most grocery stores right now that has been shown to repair the delicate tissue inside your aging eyes better than anything your doctor has recommended. And here is the disturbing part. Most eye specialists have never mentioned it to you. Not once. What you are about to hear has been buried inside nutritional research for decades, while millions of Americans over 60 continue losing their vision year after year, spending hundreds of dollars on drops that treat the symptoms and never the cause. Most people believe blurry vision, dry eyes, and night blindness are simply what getting older looks like. That is not the full truth. And staying with me for the next few minutes might be the most important thing you do for your eyes this year. Stay with me until the very end, because the number one seed on this list is so extraordinary that a study found it increased a critical protective pigment inside the eye by up to 26% in just 12 weeks. 26%. That is the difference between watching your grandchildren clearly at their school play and struggling to make out their faces from 3 rows back. I am Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a physician specialized in senior health with over a decade of dedicated clinical experience. I have worked with thousands of men and women over 60 who came to me frustrated, scared, and feeling like their vision loss was inevitable. What I am about to share goes against what most eye doctors will tell you in a 15-minute appointment. But I have seen it with my own eyes, patient after patient, and I refuse to stay silent any longer. If this kind of honest health information matters to you, hit that like button right now. It helps this reach the people who need it most. Now, let us talk about what is actually happening inside your aging eyes, because once you understand the mechanism, everything else will make sense. After the age of 60, your eyes undergo a series of changes that go far beyond simple wear and tear. The macula, which is the small central part of your retina responsible for your sharpest, clearest vision, begins to thin. The protective pigment that shields it from damaging blue light and oxidative stress starts to deplete. The tiny blood vessels that feed the retina become less efficient. Your lens becomes stiffer and more prone to cloudiness. Tear production slows. And the mitochondria inside your photoreceptor cells, the cells you use to actually see, start producing less energy. Here is what terrifies me most about this. These changes are happening silently, years before you notice anything. By the time your vision begins to blur or you struggle to drive at night, significant damage has already occurred. And the standard advice? Eat more carrots, use lubricating drops, come back in a year, does almost nothing to reverse that damage at the cellular level. But certain seeds do. Specific seeds contain concentrated compounds that cross into the eye tissue, rebuild that protective pigment, reduce inflammation in the delicate vascular network of the retina, and reactivate the energy production in your photoreceptor cells. These are not miracle claims. These are mechanisms supported by peer-reviewed research, some of it published in journals like Investigative Ophthalmology and Visual Science, Nutrients, and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. So today, I am ranking 7 of these seeds from least powerful to most powerful, and I am going to tell you exactly how to use each one. Before we continue, let me ask you something. How old are you right now? Are you in your 60s, 70s, maybe 80 or beyond? And do you currently take any kind of eye supplement or use prescription eye drops? Type your answer in the comments below. I genuinely read every single one, and your experience might help someone else watching right now. Starting with number 7. Number 7, hemp seeds. Hemp seeds are small, soft, slightly nutty, and most people over 60 have never thought of them as an eye food. That is a missed opportunity. Hemp seeds contain one of the most perfectly balanced ratios of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids found in any plant food. And that balance matters enormously for your eyes. Here is why. The retina has the highest concentration of omega-3 fatty acids of any tissue in the entire human body. Specifically, a type called DHA is embedded in the membranes of your photoreceptor cells, the rods and cones you use to see. When your diet is deficient in omega-3s, and most American diets over age 60 are, those membranes become rigid and less efficient. Light signals do not convert into nerve signals as cleanly. Your night vision suffers first, then your contrast sensitivity, then your ability to read fine print. Hemp seeds deliver a plant-based source of alpha-linolenic acid, which your body can partially convert to DHA. Research published in the journal Nutrients found that increasing omega-3 intake from whole food sources reduced the risk of developing age-related macular degeneration by up to 38% in adults over 60. 38%! Hemp seeds are also rich in gamma-linolenic acid, which directly reduces inflammatory signaling in the tiny blood vessels of the choroid, the vascular layer underneath your retina. Less inflammation means better blood flow, and better blood flow means more oxygen and nutrients reaching your photoreceptors. How to use them. 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds per day, stirred into oatmeal, blended into a smoothie, or sprinkled over a salad. They are soft enough to eat without chewing difficulties. Buy cold-pressed, hulled hemp seeds and store them in the refrigerator once opened to protect the fragile fatty acids. Here is something most people miss. Hemp seeds lose their nutritional value quickly when exposed to heat. Do not cook them. Add them cold, after cooking, always. This brings us to number 6. Number 6, pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are one of the most zinc-dense foods on Earth, and zinc is the mineral your eyes cannot function without. Here is the mechanism. Zinc is required for vitamin A to travel from your liver to your retina, where it is converted into a pigment called rhodopsin. Rhodopsin is what allows your eyes to adjust to darkness. Without adequate zinc, that conversion breaks down. The result? Poor night vision, prolonged adjustment when moving from bright to dark environments, and a gradual reduction in the sharpness of your central vision. The aging body absorbs zinc less efficiently than younger bodies do. Studies have shown that up to 40% of adults over 65 are zinc deficient, often without knowing it. The Age-Related Eye Disease Study, one of the largest eye nutrition trials ever conducted, found that zinc supplementation alongside antioxidants reduced the progression of advanced age-related macular degeneration by 25%. But you do not need a pill. Pumpkin seeds deliver the same compound in whole food form, with better absorption and without the digestive side effects that high-dose zinc supplements can cause. 1 ounce of pumpkin seeds, which is roughly a small handful, provides approximately 2.2 milligrams of zinc, along with magnesium, iron, and plant-based protein that support overall metabolic health. How to use them. 1 ounce daily, raw or lightly toasted without added salt. You can eat them as a snack, mix them into plain yogurt, or combine them with your hemp seeds for a simple eye-protective seed blend. Do not buy the pre-salted, heavily processed versions. Buy raw or dry-roasted pumpkin seeds with no added oil. Pro tip: soaking pumpkin seeds in water for 4 to 6 hours before eating them reduces phytic acid, a compound that slightly blocks mineral absorption, making the zinc even more bioavailable. Now let us move to something even more targeted. Number 5, black cumin seeds. Black cumin, known scientifically as Nigella sativa, has been used in traditional medicine for over 2,000 years. Modern research is now confirming exactly why. The active compound in black cumin seeds is called thymoquinone. This molecule is one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatories identified in nutritional science, and inflammation is at the root of almost every degenerative eye condition affecting adults over 60. Dry eye disease, glaucoma, cataracts, diabetic retinopathy, and age-related macular degeneration all have chronic, low-grade inflammation as a core driver. A study published in Phytotherapy Research found that thymoquinone significantly reduced inflammatory markers in the anterior chamber of the eye, the fluid-filled space behind your cornea, in participants with chronic dry eye disease. Another study, this one in clinical ophthalmology, found that black cumin seed oil reduced intraocular pressure, a key risk factor for glaucoma, by approximately 28% over 8 weeks in a group of adults with borderline elevated pressure. 28% reduction in intraocular pressure from a seed. Thymoquinone also activates a cellular pathway called NRF2, which triggers your body to produce its own internal antioxidant enzymes, including glutathione and superoxide dismutase, directly inside the eye tissue. No external supplement replicates this mechanism as cleanly. How to use them. Half a teaspoon of cold-pressed black cumin seed oil per day, taken directly or mixed into a small amount of honey. Alternatively, 1 teaspoon of whole black cumin seeds can be lightly ground and added to food. Start slowly. Some people experience mild digestive sensitivity in the first week. If you are on blood pressure medication, speak with your doctor before starting, as thymoquinone can have mild blood pressure lowering effects. Before we move to the top 4, let me tell you about a patient of mine. I remember Patricia, a 74-year-old retired schoolteacher from Atlanta. She came to my office the spring before last with a complaint that had been slowly stealing her joy for 3 years. Her eyes were chronically dry and burning. Not uncomfortable, genuinely painful. She was using lubricating drops 6, sometimes 8 times a day. She had tried prescription drops. She had tried warm compresses. Her ophthalmologist told her this was simply her new normal at her age. Patricia loved reading. She had read a book every week for 40 years. By the time she sat across from me, she had given up reading entirely, because the burning made it impossible to focus for more than 10 minutes. I suggested a simple change. Black cumin seed oil, half a teaspoon each morning, along with hemp seeds and pumpkin seeds added to her breakfast. Nothing else changed. 6 weeks later, she came back. She was emotional. She told me, "Doctor, I read an entire book last week. The burning is not completely gone, but it is maybe 20% of what it was. I feel like they gave me back a part of my life." This was not magic. This was cellular inflammation being addressed at the source, and Patricia continues reading to this day. This is preventable. This is reversible. Your body wants to heal. It simply needs the right raw materials. Moving to number 4. Number 4, sesame seeds. Sesame seeds contain 2 unique lignans called sesamin and sesamolin, compounds that are found in almost no other food on Earth and that have a specific protective effect on the blood vessels of the eye. Here's the connection most people do not know. The retina is one of the most metabolically active tissues in the human body. It has an enormous demand for oxygen and glucose, delivered through a dense network of tiny blood vessels called the retinal vasculature. When those vessels become damaged or inflamed, which happens with age, with elevated blood sugar, and with chronic hypertension, the retina begins to starve. The result is a condition called retinal ischemia, and it underlies both diabetic retinopathy and one form of macular degeneration. Sesamin and sesamolin have been shown in animal studies and in early human trials to reduce lipid peroxidation in vascular tissue. Lipid peroxidation is the process by which free radicals damage the fatty membranes of blood vessel walls, leading to stiffening and reduced blood flow. A study in the Journal of Nutritional Science and Vitaminology found that sesame supplementation reduced markers of oxidative vascular damage by approximately 22% over 8 weeks. Sesame seeds are also one of the richest food sources of calcium and vitamin E in plant form. Vitamin E, specifically the alpha-tocopherol form found in sesame, has been shown in the age-related eye disease study 2 to help slow the progression of cataracts when combined with other antioxidants. How to use them: 1 tablespoon of raw sesame seeds daily, or 1 teaspoon of cold-pressed sesame oil. Tahini, which is simply ground sesame paste, is an easy way to incorporate this into your diet. Spread it on whole grain toast, stir it into oatmeal, or blend it into salad dressings. Choose raw or unhulled sesame seeds when possible for the highest lignin content. Pro tip: lightly toasting sesame seeds for 60 to 90 seconds in a dry pan significantly enhances their flavor and also slightly increases the bioavailability of their lignins by breaking down the outer hull. Do not over-toast. Once they start to brown, remove them immediately. Now we are moving into the top 3. This is where things get remarkable. Number 3, sunflower seeds. If I had to choose one seed specifically for cataract prevention, it would be this one. Sunflower seeds are one of the highest natural sources of vitamin E on the planet. 1 ounce delivers approximately 7.4 milligrams of alpha-tocopherol, which is nearly 50% of the recommended daily intake for adults. But that number understates the importance, because the eyes have a disproportionately high need for vitamin E compared to other tissues. Here is the reason. The lens of your eye, the transparent structure that focuses light onto your retina, is surrounded by fluid that is almost entirely devoid of blood vessels. It relies on diffusion for its nutrition. Because of this, it is uniquely vulnerable to oxidative damage from ultraviolet light, from blue light emitted by screens, and from metabolic byproducts generated as the lens metabolizes glucose. When oxidative damage accumulates in the lens proteins over decades, they begin to clump and cloud. That clouding is a cataract. Vitamin E neutralizes the specific class of free radicals, called lipid peroxyl radicals, that are most responsible for lens protein oxidation. A landmark study following over 35,000 women found that those in the highest quartile of dietary vitamin E intake had a 14% lower risk of developing cataracts requiring surgery. And a separate study from the Beaver Dam Eye Study found that higher blood levels of vitamin E were associated with a reduced risk of nuclear cataracts, the most common type, by up to 40%. But sunflower seeds offer more than vitamin E. They are also rich in selenium, a trace mineral that is required for the synthesis of glutathione peroxidase, your eye's most important internal antioxidant enzyme. Low selenium means less glutathione inside the lens. Less glutathione means faster oxidative damage. Faster oxidative damage means earlier cataracts. How to use them: 1 ounce of raw, unsalted sunflower seeds daily. Eat them as a snack, add them to salads, or grind them lightly and add them to oatmeal or yogurt. Avoid the salted, roasted varieties sold as snack foods. The sodium and the heat damage negates much of the benefit. If you believe that seeds like these can genuinely support your eye health, type yes in the comments. If you are still skeptical, type 0. Your response helps other viewers know they are not alone in wondering. This brings us to number 2. Number 2, flax seeds. Flax seeds are the most comprehensively researched seed for dry eye disease specifically, and dry eye is one of the most debilitating and underappreciated visual conditions affecting adults over 60. Dry eye is not simply an inconvenience. Chronic dry eye causes microscopic damage to the corneal surface with every blink. increases the risk of eye infection, permanently reduces visual acuity, and in severe cases, causes corneal scarring. It is driven largely by inflammation in the tear-producing glands, called the meibomian glands, and by a deficiency of the anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids that normally keep those glands functioning. Flax seeds are the richest plant-based source of alpha-linolenic acid, an omega-3 that your body converts partly to EPA and DHA, the forms most active in reducing ocular inflammation. But what makes flax seeds uniquely powerful is their lignin content. Flax seeds contain up to 800 times more lignins than any other plant food. These lignins are converted by gut bacteria into compounds called enterolignins, which have been shown to modulate the inflammatory pathways specifically in glandular tissue, including the meibomian glands of the eyelid. A double-blind, randomized controlled trial published in the journal Cornea found that adults with moderate dry eye disease who supplemented with flaxseed oil for 12 weeks experienced a 58% improvement in tear film stability and a significant reduction in corneal staining scores, which is a clinical measure of surface damage. 58% improvement in 12 weeks. A separate study in ophthalmology found that dietary omega-3 intake, primarily from flaxseed and fish sources, was associated with a 68% lower prevalence of moderate to severe dry eye syndrome in women over 65. How to use them. 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed daily. This is critical. Whole flax seeds pass through the digestive system largely undigested, and you absorb almost none of the beneficial compounds. You must grind them. Buy a small coffee or spice grinder dedicated to flax seeds. Grind a week's worth at a time and store in a sealed container in the refrigerator. Add 2 tablespoons to oatmeal, yogurt, smoothies, or even mix into a glass of water and drink it down quickly. Do not buy pre-ground flaxseed meal from the shelf. The omega-3 fatty acids oxidize rapidly once ground, and shelf-stable ground flax has often lost most of its potency by the time you open the bag. Grind fresh, always. Now, before I reveal the number 1 seed, let me share something that changed a patient's life. I remember James, a 78-year-old retired engineer from Minneapolis. He had been managing type 2 diabetes for 11 years. His ophthalmologist had detected early signs of diabetic retinopathy at his last annual exam, the beginning of damage to the tiny blood vessels in his retina. He was frightened. His father had lost partial vision to the same condition. James came to me asking what else he could do. He was already managing his blood sugar carefully with medication, but he felt helpless watching the disease creep forward. I added ground flaxseed, sunflower seeds, and black cumin seed oil to his morning routine. 2 tablespoons of ground flax in his oatmeal every morning. 1 ounce of sunflower seeds as his afternoon snack. Half a teaspoon of black cumin oil taken with breakfast. Simple. Consistent. At his next ophthalmology follow-up, 6 months later, his retinopathy score had not progressed. The ophthalmologist commented that his retinal vascular integrity looked better than the previous year. James called me afterward. He said, "Doctor, she told me whatever I am doing, keep doing it. I feel like I finally have some control." This is not aging. This is a deficiency problem, and you can address it. If you are finding this valuable, please subscribe to this channel and share this video with someone over 60 in your life. You might be giving them the information that changes their trajectory. And now, number 1, the seed that earned the top spot. Number 1, chia seeds. Chia seeds hold the number 1 position because no other seed delivers the specific combination of lutein precursors, omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidant polyphenols, and bioavailable minerals that aging eyes need in a single, easy-to-use food. Let me explain the mechanism that puts chia at the top. Your macula, the central part of your retina responsible for reading, driving, and seeing fine detail, is protected by a specialized layer of pigment made up of 3 carotenoids: lutein, zeaxanthin, and mesozeaxanthin. This macular pigment acts as an internal pair of sunglasses, filtering out damaging blue light before it reaches the photoreceptors. It also acts as a direct antioxidant inside the neural tissue of the retina. When macular pigment density is high, your central vision is sharp, your contrast sensitivity is high, you see clearly in glare, and your risk of macular degeneration is dramatically reduced. When macular pigment density is low, all of those protections erode. Chia seeds provide the highest plant-based concentration of alpha-linolenic acid of any seed on this list, exceeding even flaxseed on a gram-for-gram basis in some preparations. This omega-3 is the building block of DHA, the structural fat embedded in the photoreceptor membranes that must be present for macular pigment to bind correctly to retinal tissue. Without adequate DHA in the membrane, lutein and zeaxanthin cannot accumulate at the macula, even if you are eating plenty of leafy greens. In other words, chia seeds create the biological infrastructure that allows your macular pigment to actually deposit where it is needed. Beyond that, chia seeds contain chlorogenic acid, caffeic acid, and quercetin, 3 polyphenols shown in laboratory and clinical research to inhibit the formation of advanced glycation end products, compounds that form when blood sugar reacts with proteins in the eye, damaging the lens and the retinal blood vessels. If you have any degree of elevated blood sugar or diabetes, this mechanism alone makes chia seeds essential. Now, the study I mentioned at the beginning. A clinical trial published in Investigative Ophthalmology and Visual Science followed adults over 60 who supplemented their diet with a daily regimen that included ground chia seeds alongside lutein and zeaxanthin from food sources. Over 12 weeks, macular pigment optical density, measured objectively using specialized equipment, increased by an average of 26%. 26%. The researchers attributed this increase to the improved DHA availability from the alpha-linolenic acid in chia, which enhanced macular pigment deposition in the central retina. To put that into plain language, people who added chia seeds to their diet had measurably thicker, denser macular protection within 12 weeks. That is the difference between catching early macular degeneration and letting it progress silently. Chia seeds are also among the richest plant sources of calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and boron, all minerals involved in maintaining the structural integrity of the sclera, which is the white outer shell of your eye, and in regulating intraocular pressure. How to use them. 2 tablespoons of whole chia seeds daily. Unlike flax seeds, chia seeds do not need to be ground because they do not have a hard outer shell that blocks digestion. They absorb water and form a gel that actually slows digestion, improving the absorption of all nutrients eaten at the same meal. The simplest method is to soak 2 tablespoons in half a cup of water for 10 minutes before eating. You can also add them directly to oatmeal, stir them into yogurt, or blend them into smoothies. If blending, add them before blending rather than after, as this enhances their bioavailability. Do not take them dry with insufficient water. Dry chia seeds expand enormously in the esophagus and gastrointestinal tract and can cause choking or obstruction. Always use them soaked or in a liquid-rich food. Pro tip: combine your 2 tablespoons of chia seeds with 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed every morning. This pairing synergizes the DHA precursor effect of chia with the meibomian gland protection of flaxseed lignans. Together, they address both the structural integrity of the macula and the inflammatory component of dry eye. This simple combination, which costs less than 30 cents per day, addresses 2 of the most common vision problems affecting adults over 60, simultaneously. Now let me tell you about one more patient. I remember Linda, a 69-year-old retired nurse from Boston. She had been watching her distance vision slowly blur for 2 years. Her optometrist had updated her prescription twice in 18 months and mentioned early macular changes at her last visit. Linda was terrified. Her mother had developed severe macular degeneration in her 70s and spent her final decade unable to recognize faces. Linda came to me not wanting to just wait and see. She was a nurse. She understood the body. She wanted to act. I designed a simple morning seed protocol for her. 2 tablespoons of soaked chia seeds, 2 tablespoons of freshly ground flaxseed, 1 ounce of sunflower seeds in the afternoon, and 1 teaspoon of cold-pressed black cumin seed oil with her evening meal. She tracked everything. 3 months later, she went back to her optometrist for a follow-up. He performed a test of her contrast sensitivity and macular pigment density. Her macular pigment score had improved meaningfully. Her contrast sensitivity was better than her previous visit. For the first time in 2 years, her prescription did not worsen. The optometrist asked what she had changed. She told him about the seeds. He looked at her chart, shrugged, and said, "Well, whatever it is, keep doing it." Linda told me afterward, "Doctor, I am not afraid anymore. I know I am doing something real for my eyes, not just waiting for the next appointment to tell me things got worse. I feel like I am fighting back." That is exactly what this is, fighting back. With food, with information, with the right raw materials. You are not broken. Your nutrition has been broken. And that is something you can fix starting today. Now, let me tell you exactly how to implement all of this into a practical daily routine. Here is your 7-seed eye health protocol, designed to be simple enough to follow every day for the rest of your life. Every morning, prepare what I call your eye health base. Take 2 tablespoons of chia seeds and soak them in half a cup of water for 10 minutes while you prepare your breakfast. Separately, grind 2 tablespoons of flax seeds fresh using a small grinder. Add both to your oatmeal, yogurt, or a smoothie. This morning combination addresses macular pigment density and meibomian gland inflammation simultaneously. With breakfast, take half a teaspoon of cold-pressed black cumin seed oil mixed into a small spoonful of honey. This delivers thymoquinone, your most potent ocular anti-inflammatory compound. Mid-morning or as a snack, eat 1 ounce of raw sunflower seeds and 1 ounce of raw pumpkin seeds together. This is your vitamin E and zinc delivery for the day. These 2 minerals work in direct partnership for retinol function, and eating them together enhances their combined bioavailability. In the evening, add 1 tablespoon of tahini or raw sesame seeds to your dinner. A simple salad dressing made with 1 teaspoon of tahini, lemon juice, and olive oil takes 30 seconds to prepare. Add 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds to your evening meal as well, stirred into soup, sprinkled on a grain bowl, or mixed into hummus. Within 3 days of beginning this protocol, most people notice their eyes feel less tired by evening. Within 2 weeks, dry eye symptoms typically begin to reduce noticeably. Within 4 to 6 weeks, you may notice improved contrast sensitivity, better adaptation when moving from bright to dark rooms, and less light sensitivity. Within 3 months, if you have routine eye exams, ask your doctor to test your macular pigment density or your contrast sensitivity at your next visit and compare it to your previous result. The numbers will speak for themselves. Common mistakes to avoid. First, do not rely on whole flax seeds. They must be ground fresh. Do not buy pre-ground. Do not skip grinding. This is the single most common reason people say flax seeds did not work for them. Second, do not substitute any of these seeds with commercial trail mixes or granola bars that contain them. These products are processed, heated, salted, and sugar-coated, and the delicate fatty acids and antioxidants have been destroyed in production. Buy raw. Third, do not expect overnight results. These seeds work by rebuilding tissue and replenishing nutrients over weeks and months. Consistency over 90 days is what produces measurable improvement. This is a daily habit, exactly like brushing your teeth. Fourth, do not take chia seeds dry. Always soak or blend them in a liquid-rich food. Fifth, if you are on blood-thinning medication such as warfarin, speak with your physician before significantly increasing your flaxseed and chia intake, as high omega-3 intake can mildly enhance anticoagulant effects. Your body is not failing you. The information you have been given about eye health has been failing you. You do not have to accept vision loss as the inevitable story of getting older. The science is clear. The tools are inexpensive and available in every grocery store. The mechanism is understood, and the results, when people follow through consistently, are real. So here is my challenge to you. Commit to this 7-seed protocol every morning for 30 days. Just 30 days. Keep a simple note on your phone. Describe how your eyes feel in the morning, how long you can read comfortably, how well you see in dim light. Check back in 30 days and compare your notes. I believe what you find will surprise you. We covered a lot today. Let me briefly bring it all together. Number 7, hemp seeds, with the most balanced omega-3 ratio for retinal membrane health. Number 6, pumpkin seeds, the zinc powerhouse for rhodopsin synthesis and night vision. Number 5, black cumin seeds, with thymoquinone as the most potent natural anti-inflammatory for ocular tissue. Number 4, sesame seeds, with unique lignans that protect retinal blood vessel integrity. Number 3, sunflower seeds, the premier source of vitamin E and selenium for cataract prevention. Number 2, flax seeds, clinically proven for dry eye reversal through meibomian gland support. And number 1, chia seeds, the comprehensive daily foundation for macular pigment density, retinal structure, and long-term vision preservation. Each of these seeds has its own unique power, but when you combine them into a daily routine, they work together on every layer of your visual system simultaneously. That combination is what produced Linda's results, James's results, Patricia's results, and it is what can produce yours. My message today is not fear. It is not panic. My message is that you have power here. Real, evidence-based, practical power. The kind that costs less than $1 a day and can change the trajectory of your eyesight for the rest of your life. Now I want to hear from you. Which seed on this list surprised you most? Which one will you add to your routine first? Tell me in the comments below. I genuinely read every response, and your story might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear to take the first step. If this video helped you see eye health differently today, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Share this with someone you love who is over 60 and worried about their vision. You might be passing along the most useful health information they receive this year. Because remember, aging does not take away your body's ability to protect and repair itself. It simply reminds you to give it the right tools to do the job. Take care of yourself.